Before you watch this video, make sure you watch the previous videos on how to draw Bohr models for atoms and for ions. So this video is about ionic compounds and how to name ionic compounds and how to write formulas for them. You'll recall that an ionic bond is a bond that forms between a positive metal ion and a negative non-metal ion. And the ionic bonding forms ionic compounds. An example would be calcium fluoride. And if we draw the Bohr models for the fluorides, and notice I'm saying fluoride because it's an ion. So fluorine has 7 valence electrons. Fluoride tells you that it's picked up one more so that it has a full outer shell. Picking up an electron will give it a -1 charge, which is why it's an ion. Calcium, on the other hand, calcium atom would have 2 valence electrons, which it would need to lose to get a full outer shell. So this diagram is showing calcium losing 2 electrons. One of those electrons would be going to fill up this fluorine's outer shell, and one of the electrons would be going to fill up this fluorine's outer shell. And so by doing this, all of the ions now have full outer shells and are more stable. And you can see that in this case, you can think of it like one calcium will satisfy 2 fluorines. And so that's why the formula would be CaF2, 1 calcium and 2 fluorines, or fluorides I should say, because they're ions now. Okay, so there are some little tricks for how to write these formulas, but I want you to think about this picture so that you can visualize what's happening with regards to the valence electrons. So let's do some examples. Here we have barium chloride. So what I always do is write out the symbol first, barium, and write the charge for barium underneath it. And barium is +2, or 2 plus, is how we usually write it. Chloride has a -1 charge. So if you can visualize this, the fact that this is +2 for barium tells you that it would have lost 2 electrons. The fact that chloride is -1 tells you that each chloride needs to gain 1 electron. So like the picture we have up top, 1 barium, because it's losing 2 electrons, can satisfy 2 chlorides. Another way to do it is to make sure that these ion charges balance out and add to 0. So +2, -1 plus -1 makes -2. Okay, each of these represents a chloride. So 1 barium and 2 chlorides. So that would be the formula. Okay, we'll pick up the pace a little bit here. So calcium, you can look at your periodic table and see it has a +2 charge. Oxide has a -2 charge. Well, in this case, the charges balance out. It's a 1-to-1 ratio. So it's just going to be 1 calcium for 1 oxygen. Aluminum phosphide. Find aluminum on your table, you'll see that it's got a +3 charge. Phosphide would have a -3 charge. Again, it's a 1-to-1 ratio. So ALP. And try the last one by yourself, the silver nitride.